Good evening, you're listening to Kickoff on talkSPORT with Ladbrokes. Remember, play at ladbrokes.com, 18 plus, begambleaware.org. Remember, game day is back this Saturday as well. It's the North London derby, it's the big one. Arsenal versus Tottenham. Reshman Chowdhury, Sam Matterface, and former Arsenal winger Perry Groves, and former Tottenham striker Clive Allen. Look, we've been talking about Arsenal Tottenham. Reese has got in touch, Arsenal fan. Reese, must-win game, isn't it? I mean, you can't lose to Manchester United away from home. You can't lose to Spurs at home and then expect everyone to take you serious for a top four or even a title challenge, can you?
Nah, of course not. These are the big testing games for us, because the first hurdle was Man United. We fell. We played very well. We got a lot of plaudits, but we came away with 0 points. If we then lose to Tottenham as well, and then go beat a mid-table team, we're still in the top 3, top 2, but no one's going to take us seriously because we keep falling against the bigger clubs, and we're not going to win the league like that. But can I say about last season, the North London derby at the back end of last year that determined the top 4? That wasn't the pinnacle game for us, because everything was still in our hands. The 3 games we lost back-to-back against Palace, Brighton and Southampton, and then even leading into the North London derby, we needed to go to Newcastle and do the business. We gifted Tottenham that place last year. Tottenham are very good, but I think the business that we've done over the summer has been better than Spurs, because from goalkeeper into defence into midfield last year, I thought we were better, but Tottenham had a better front three than us last year. I think Lacazette scored 5 or 6 goals across the whole campaign, and that isn't good enough for a top 4 club.
Reece, when you said Tottenham had the better front three last season, you think you've got the better front three this season?
I think we're closer than last season, because Jesus, Saka and Martinelli's come leaps and bounds, and so Saka, and Jesus has given us so much up front. I think we're much closer to Tottenham's front three this year, and I still think goalkeeper, defence, midfield, I still feel we're better than Spurs. But Tottenham, with Conte's like a 12th man. He gives so much to Tottenham, and they are a dangerous, dangerous team. And for as long as they've got Son and Kane in form, they can beat anybody.
Reece, Thomas, Hal Robson-Kanu here. Hope you're keeping well. What are you, thank you, as an Arsenal fan, like what are your expectations this season? Like what do you think is realistic?
Let's give it a go. Let's give it a go, because just aiming for the top 4 in an FA Cup, it has been okay for us, because we've been too far away from Liverpool and City. But Liverpool don't look the same. They look like they've burnt out and they're a bit tired. Liverpool have fell off. City have dropped points, and we are up there. Let's keep it going and actually give the league a go, because
you've got to, haven't you, Reece? If we're honest with you, I mean, last season was top 4 and an FA Cup run. You've then added Zinchenko, Jesus, and you've got Saliba back, who was obviously Young Player of the Year in France last year. So I was going to ask you about that. You know, we obviously waxed lyrical about Jesus being that signing, right? The best pound-for-pound signing. Surely it's Saliba coming back and him and that partnership with Gabriel that really is kickstarting Arsenal this season.
I think every Arsenal fan was so looking forward to Saliba coming back, because after he had his loan spell out the year before when he was at St Etienne, and then he was on loan at, I think it was Nice, and then he came back for pre-season, and all the Arsenal fans were excited. I think he played against MK Dons in a pre-season friendly, and for whatever reason, Arteta didn't think he was ready. Arsenal fans were upset, but when he's been away, I think everyone's followed him week in, week out, because we were so looking forward to having him back, and now that he is back, you can see why. He's so good, and he's so young as well. There's a reason he was Young Player of the Year last year.
Yeah, look, Arteta's got it right, hasn't he? Really, sending him out on loan all the time. It's just worked, hasn't it? How impressed have you been with Saliba? He looks already the business, doesn't he? And it's weird when you look at that sort of how many young French defenders there are sort of top defenders. You think of him, you think of Konate, Upamecano, Fofana for Chelsea as well. They've almost got a conveyor belt of these young defenders, all 6'3", 6'4", that can do everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, phenomenal. Like he's got, first thing is always the attributes. You know, what physical attributes do they have relevant to that position? You know, he's an absolute monster physically. You know, he's a beast. He can, you know, deal with those, the likes of Harry Kane. It's going to be a great battle. Him v Harry Kane on the weekend. You know, that's going to be a real test for Harry Kane, but also a real test for him. But actually then in terms of, you know, the Arsenal way, technically on the ball, the way he moves the ball, he can start attacks from the back. And again, this is like we're saying, the Arsenal of old, and you know, Arteta pulling that magic from Pep. Like, yeah, there's something about them definitely this season, and William Saliba coming back into the fold and already playing such a significant role has a major impact on that.
Indeed they do. Appreciate Reece for calling there as well. Remember, phone lines are open, 03717 223344. Tottenham fans, get in touch as well. We want to hear from you and the start to your season. I think it's been really good in the Premier League. One thing when I speak to Arsenal fans that they continually talk about maybe is the strength and depth. Like the Arsenal 11 is really good, but then maybe when it gets down to like sort of player 14, 15, 16, it maybe drops off compared to your Cities, your Liverpools and your Spurs. There's a lot of talk about Tielemans in the summer. Obviously last year of his contract with Leicester. Should Arsenal maybe pull the trigger on Tielemans? Yeah,
he would be the perfect fit for Arsenal. Perfect fit. And you know, it was all mooted, but there was talk of him, you know, it close to happening. Yeah. But actually for him now, you know, he's obviously going to run his contract down. You know, he'll probably move, whether he'll go to Arsenal in the summer once his contract expires. But in terms of players in the Premier League who are playing at a team, you know, where they're probably bigger than the team, better than the team, like he's 100% one of them. Like he is, and I've played against him firsthand. He's top four.
Really, that
top
good?
Top four, yeah, like really good. Like his manipulation of the ball, the way he dictates the play. You know, he will move the ball through the lines, receives the ball in tight areas, and will penetrate and hurt the opposition from a deeper place. And that's something which, you know, as an Arsenal, you know, for Arsenal fans and the way that Arsenal want to play, he would have been perfect for them. But yeah, wasn't meant to be, obviously. But it will be a very, very interesting time for Tielemans in the summer. Yeah,
Conte's come to Spurs, and you can already see the improvements. And I guess one player that's really benefited from him coming there is Eric Dyer. Right, I mean, Eric Dyer looked like he could be on the way out of the club. He's got back into the England squad right now. That partnership with Romero looks a good one. How impressed have you been with sort of Dyer's sort of ascendancy under Conte?
Yeah, it's nice to see. I think that's the good thing about a new manager coming into the club, is that he's always going to give everyone an opportunity. And that's fantastic for players who have maybe been out in the abyss, maybe fallen out of favour, you know, haven't been in form in terms of maybe the style of play wasn't quite suiting them. So for Eric Dyer, he's ultimately taken the chance which Conte has given him. But again, it's fantastic to see because, you know, he's come through the rank. You know, he's come from as a young player through with Tottenham, and now he's ultimately beginning to fulfill what I think a lot of people were expecting him to do maybe 2 or 3 years ago. So yeah, I think it's not always about the signings that you bring in. It's about the players that, you know, you really build and develop and, you know, allow to flourish under your reign as a manager, which actually can dictate how well you do not do.
Who do you think has the better season of these two clubs? Again, I think it's very, very close between the two. I guess some would say that the difference really is the managers. You know, Arteta, I think, will go on to be a good manager. He's won an FA Cup with Arsenal, so it clearly shows that there's something there. But Conte's just special, isn't he? When you think of Conte, you really put him in the same bracket as Klopp and Guardiola in terms of achievements. If you look at his CV, is that going to be the difference, you think, come the end of the season, the managers?
Yeah, I think, you know, Reece hit the nail on the head. Conte is Tottenham's 12th man. He actually is, and I think he gives them that drive. Both of these teams, they're going to go through sticky patches over the course of the season. It's how long they stay in that sticky patch and how quickly they can get out of it, which will dictate ultimately the success that they have. And so from Tottenham's perspective, I think, Yeah, they may not, I think Arsenal have a little bit more on the weekend, but actually over the course of the season, in terms of that consistency required to maintain that level of competition at the very top of the Premier League, I think, Tottenham will do slightly better.
Do you think this game Arsenal nick it?
I think so. Yeah, I've got a feeling. Yeah.
Scoreline 2-1. 1-0.
3-1.
3-1. 3-1. Can we book Hal Robson-Kanu in, please, for Sunday afternoon if it doesn't go that way?